Cases added inside events is another powerful feature of Monospose Developer. Keep in mind that only professional package users can define cases inside events. Similar to child, or in other words subcommands added under commands, cases are like sub or child events added inside events. Therefore, instead of case, we sometimes use the terms sub or child event as well. Again, similar to subcommands, for each case you add inside an event, you should define a condition. While you won't be using this feature as often as subcommands, actually it will give you much more flexibility when you use it. Defining cases inside events will be your savior, especially when trying to manage very special situations that cannot be done with child commands. We use cases when we need to define a special case of an event. And when you define a case, this case will have its own actions, and the main event will have its own. However, the actions in the main event, and the ones added to the case, cannot be active at the same time. You will see several different uses of cases in different post-processors. For example, in the Mazak Variaxis post-processor, it is used to define a special case of event tool change, which will only be active at first operation. And later, a script added inside this case can be used to store the number of the first tool. Note that this script is not called in the main event. In the same post-processor, event case is also used in event linear rapid motion to create a new case for rapid motions only. Child event will only be active for rapid motions, and this child event has its own action linear motion. And after adding this case, the main event will only be used for linear motions. And the main event has its own action linear motion. This means that different interpolation settings can be defined for linear motions and rapid motions separately inside their own action linear motions. In this Heidenhain post-processor, event case is used to define a special case of event circular motion, which will only be active at simultaneous operations. And later, action error can be added inside this case instead of action circular motion. As you can see, main event still has the action circular motion in it. We add action error inside child event, and we also delete action circular motion in it, since we don't want to output circular moves inside simultaneous operations. By doing so, action error will be active when a circular motion line comes in a simultaneous milling operation, and this will create an error message while post-processing. In this Mazak Integrex post-processor, event case is used to define a new case for event cycle, which will only be active at operation starts. And note that action reset is only added inside the child event. And by doing so, feed rate value and drill cycle type words can be reset only at operation starts. The examples are countless. If you want to be expert on using Monospose Developer, you should definitely learn how to use cases inside events. The first thing you have to know about cases is that they can be easily added by right-clicking on events. And here, you should select a condition to create your case. The case you created will only be active when this condition is satisfied. Later, this added case will be displayed inside the event you right-clicked under Cases section. And this condition is added next to case term here. And it is also displayed here under Conditions heading. Now let's describe what condition is. Conditions are actually Boolean type variables in Monospose Developer. A Boolean type variable gets the value true or false, or in other words, 1 or 0. When you want to add a new subcommand, all conditions are listed here. Note that you can also create your own custom Boolean variables and use them as conditions. Operation names are also Boolean type variables as well. For instance, here there is the op simultaneous milling condition. This Boolean variable will be true when simultaneous milling operation becomes active. Although you can also define a new case under a case. We do not recommend that. We never did that before. This will increase the complexity of your post-processor design. Lastly, let's talk about multiple condition selections. Sometimes, you need to select multiple conditions when creating your case. You can easily do that. After right-clicking on the event and selecting Add Case, you can select multiple conditions here. But before pressing the Add button, do not forget to select the logical operator that determines how you combine these conditions. You can either select or AND. Keep in mind that, if you select more than two conditions, you can only combine them with one operator, either with or AND. If you select two conditions together and combine them with OR operator, you will see OR sign in between these conditions in the expression written next to the case. And if you select combining them with AND operator, you will see the AND sign here. I think you've also noticed that I just used the change condition option. As you already understood, you can change the settings of an already created case inside an event by right-clicking on it and then selecting Change Condition option.